Anything you say here might be used against you in a court of law. So
Actually, I fought tooth and nail for my answers, so it is what it is.
I knew which one were yours without Chris even telling me.
Jeff, we're live on YouTube, and looks like on Facebook as well.
So we're good to go.
Yay!
All right, everybody, here we are again. Another episode of Deep Space Nine, guys. Season 2, Episode 4, Invasive Procedures, which, can I say, maybe the sexiest Star Trek title that we've had?
Well, it depends on who's doing the invasiving, I suppose.
Ooh, invasive.
It's the most pornographic, maybe. I don't know.
Jeff, where's the excitement about this episode?
No, I'm excited. I'm sorry. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of start off a little bit more mellow because,
Because why? Because of the down note of the episode? It's so sad.
It is a little sad.
Is it so sad?
The guy kind of goes crazy. Okay, but this is exciting because we have Tim Russ not playing a Vulcan. He's playing a Klingon. What did are
you going to introduce us?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, you kind of cut me off. I was going, and then you cut me off. Now I gotta restart all over again here. Okay. All right. Here we are with my brother Dave over in the Southwest in his command center. We got Kevin and Ashley Millard over here. They're joining. Ashley's still on her way through Deep Space Nine, but she still knows some things that happen later. Okay, we have Jaemeel Robinson in the bottom right. Meow meow.
Meow meow.
He's the meow meow.
He's got the hot takes about this show that is 27 years old. Okay, so we'll swing it over to Dave first. What did you think of Tim Russ?
You think that Tim Russ is the headline at this hour? Do you? I think that it was John Glover, not Donald Glover, but John Glover, perhaps the greatest of the Glovers. Who
I haven't seen him in a sleeveless white top. So
no, he is. I don't know if he can hold it up with Danny Glover, but John Glover was great in this. That was a great guest star, great performance, and I think what I also liked about this was how much it established the Trill, exactly what part was symbiote, what part was the original host, how much of that was a blend, what happens when you separate them. What's sort of the result, and I thought that part was kind of really interesting. But I think this episode's also very dark and twisted in a lot of ways, and the motivations of the characters are very questionable at best.
The ending is questionable because, like, the resolution is, "Oh, okay, you convinced me," kind of ending with no understanding of consequences of their action. But we'll get to that when we do get to the end part.
Okay, so Kevin and Ashley coming on here. What do you guys think about this episode? What stands out for you?
It was a good episode coming off of the Bajoran trio.
Okay, the trilogy.
For the standout for me is Quark. I love Quark in this episode.
But he's kind of a bad guy in this episode, isn't he?
Does he get away with this?
A lovable rogue.
I love when Quark is kind of the bad guy.
Yeah, he's kind of the bad guy.
I like when he attacks Klingons.
Yeah.
Right.
And then fakes an ear injury. It's hilarious. I thought he was awesome in this.
Look, in the grand scheme of things, he was a lot more successful in his matchup than the freedom fighter Kira Nerys was, where she got decimated by this street ruffian. Right? She's been fighting all of her life. This ruffian just beat her down without mercy.
Yeah, I just knowing that a couple seasons from now they'll be fighting Klingons hand to hand, with bat lifts and phasers and for their lives. But here, a couple of them with disruptors get to jump on them, and then it's this real hostage situation.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the whole beginning part of this episode, where it's a storm and their skeleton crew, and it's a heist? Did you think that kind of worked for Star Trek?
Yeah, it was a very traditional storytelling trope, where whether it be a police precinct or a hospital or just a cabin in the woods, elements from outside has made their situation seem where they're isolated. It's a a skeleton crew or a small few that are had the unfortunate circumstance where some rogues come to rob them, not knowing that there's a connection and a motivation to why they're there. It isn't just random happenstance. There's a mission afoot.
Right.
Well,
So-
it's really dark, too, is this whole opening, right? It's like, basically, it's like, here, I'm here to steal your liver, or, right? Like, or I'm here to steal something from you, and you're going to die, but I don't care because I think what I want is better or more important, and I've hired
I don't care because I need your liver.
right, or whatever, right? Your
What about
heart.
me? What about
What about me? What about what I need? Like, John Glover's character is despicable, really. He's a really, it's so sad.
But he's so much worse when he has the Dax.
Is he worse?
I feel like he's worse.
Unless
I feel like he's still bad, but with more confidence.
Yes, that I agree with. Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the whole? Just kind of the beginning part where they kind of storm in and they just they take everybody's stuff, they take all their comm badges, and we kind of get the whole they don't really know why they're there, and they're not really killing anybody or anything like that, or they're just kind of they don't really get it. Like Cisco's asking hey, I'm commander of the station, and what's going on here? And then they finally reveal the whole Dax symbiote heist thing, which is kind of a strange concept. When they wrote this episode, where they're okay, he's coming in for her symbiote. It's her I don't know. It's like you said. It's like taking a kidney or taking a.
Yeah, it's like somebody who needs a terminally ill a kidney, whatever you want to assign to it. But it's also something he had been denied for, right? Because he's not going to die without this, though. That's the difference, is that he's going to kill somebody, but it's not like now he gets to live instead, only in his own mind, right? And I think what's the other big part of this episode is, what does it tell us about who Dax the symbiote is, right? And how much that original personality is the dominant thing, right? We'll get eventually to Ezri, but and how she's different from
coincidentally has none of that confidence from the Dax symbiote.
Stop making sense. Stop.
Every other host gets it, but Ezri. But whatever, it skips a generation. I don't know.
She would have crippling
It skips
shyness.
every 8 hosts. It skips
Crippling shyness if that was her with the Curzon Dax confidence. She would just be in a ball in her chambers, just kind of curled up. It's someone turbulent night. It's too dangerous.
Well, but does it make a difference when Dax is put into someone who's meant to be paired with Dax? Who has a strong enough personality to...
Ezri wasn't meant to be.
No, and
either.
neither was this guy.
Right.
So does Dax...
But there's a difference because John Glover's character here, what's his name? Jadan? Varad.
You're way off.
Whatever. Varad. Yeah, that's it. Varad Dax. He went through the symbiosis training. He just got to the very end and didn't get it. Right.
Right.
So
unsuitable.
But Ezri didn't go through any of that.
No, she just happened to be there when
she just happened to be that species and happened to be nearby.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about them having to put Odo in the safe? That was trippy.
They were smart about it.
Yeah. They were smart about it because Odo's the first guy you got to get rid of.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be walking down the hall and just get tripped.
Right.
Well, I thought that was really disturbing, that scene too, because we know how emotional Odo is about changing in front of anybody, right? And here he's forced to do it in front of a lot of people, to save O'Brien.
Shh, stop. I'm shy. Turn around. Turn around. He starts and then he stops. Like
No one likes.
He doesn't put up a fight. He kind of takes the situation very seriously, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But what were you saying?
No,
You were
they just
saying-
said right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
We all agree with
We
you,
all
Dave.
agree.
Good point, Dave.
They definitely had to force him into the box because he would have tripped them in the first 5 minutes and it would have been over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and once they get him out, it's like, you're done. We got Odo now. But the rest of the time, it's not like that. It hasn't been like that in the first
Now,
season.
if you want to murder somebody on the station, Odo can be standing right next to you. But if you're trying to get away, he's going to fucking catch you.
100%.
That's great.
We get some good scenes though with once like the symbiosis like operation occurs with Cisco and Varad Dax. Right, we got some good scenes there, right? Where
Just
Yes.
stands up straight.
Cisco's kind of humoring him, but he's like laughing about old times with him, and then he's like, "If you're gonna kill Jadzia, then we are no longer friends." It was just
That's a
He's
good
dope.
scene. That whole
Yeah.
interaction.
But you
is
get
very
good scenes between Cisco and the girlfriend too. So you get a sense of Cisco just knowing how to play people.
Well, not just that though. She thinks he's lying, but he's not lying to her. He's telling her the honest truth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's like, he's seen the difference between the two hosts. It's like, it isn't just like, you slip and slide into the new one and it's like old times. It's like it's a brand new person. That being said, he never saw Jadzia prior to being Jadzia Dax.
But he would know the difference between Curzon Dax and Jadzia Dax, so he would see the difference with how the differences and the similarities with how Dax is in his hosts.
Don't call me Benjamin.
Rod, don't call me Benjamin. You're not a. And what do you think of that? The whole he shoots Varad.
I don't know why he shoots him. Why didn't he just tackle him? Why didn't he just take him down? Cisco's way bigger than him. And tougher.
He has 8 lifetimes of martial arts training. That Jadzia never uses until.
But the whole like you won't risk harming the symbiote, and Cisco's like, oh yeah, like I will.
Wait until you see some of the evil shit I do in the next few.
Is this the beginning of it?
Yeah.
I think it's always been there a little bit with Cisco.
Something snaps. First, Q challenges him and he punches him in the face, and it's just a slow increment. I'm not.
That's
Picard.
the only good part of that episode. Picard never hit me. I'm not Picard.
Wait. Is Dave?
I'm not Picard.
I knew it.
This entire operation has been a waste of resources, men, and equipment.
Yeah, he's great. Cisco's the best.
Yeah, the Cisco.
The Cisco. Yes.
Yeah,
he's the Cisco.
The Cisco.
Yeah, like it makes that it was the Kirk in the radio theater, but it really should have been the Cisco when he was when he was Cisco.
Yeah.
Because that was already the case. He'd be like the Cisco.
The Cisco. So why is everything seems to be like, I don't know how they approached this whole, like, the attack sequence. You have their initial attempt to kind of fend these people off, and you see Bashir having a good go, and then Kira just gets her clock cleaned. I have to keep going back to that. Like, that was extremely disappointing as a freedom fighter to just get embarrassed like that.
Yeah, because she kicks the shit out of everyone going forward, right?
Yeah,
she kicks the shit out of Damar.
But this one, it wasn't even close. Like, it was 50-50. She just got, wrecked.
Maybe she had a hangover or something. I don't know.
It just seems like a weird choice in terms of, like, writing this scene. Like, maybe if the person was more imposing, the girlfriend was more imposing, or she had, like, I was fighting on the streets for like 20 years or something, and this place that was a hellhole or a hellscape.
Yeah,
It's
she
like,
was
no,
like
she was just
from wherever Yar was from.
a homeless girl on the street that was in a halfway house, working in a halfway house, that fell in love with this Trill dude. That was basically her storyline, and she was able to just waste Nerys, you know.
But she had never killed anybody before, right? Like that was kind of what the story was.
The
Who?
girlfriend?
The girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, but still, she
I don't know.
with
that was the impression I was
she
given.
probably like didn't have to.
I was given the impression she had never killed anybody before, but it's still all the characters when she pointed that phaser at them, believed that she could or would kill them at any time. So that was sort of like I didn't really know what to make of her character, other than she was sort of just there to serve as the point that you do change when there's the joined Trill, and that it just to sort of demonstrate that aspect of what they want to establish in who this species is, who Jadzia Dax is, all that.
She
The
just
Trill.
comes across as dumb, lovesick and dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think happened to those two after this?
They went to
Hopefully
separate jails.
jail.
Separate jails where they're no longer together.
Although not for that long. Remember, in later seasons, Garrick literally tries to commit genocide and gets 6 months.
Slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
But so does Cassidy Yates.
Ryan,
Kills
his shoulder.
his brother and just gets a yelling at.
Yeah.
It was possibly a justified genocide. That's why he got the slap on the wrist.
Doesn't Cassidy Yates get 6 months in prison for just helping the Maquis?
Yeah, and
Something like that,
Cisco's
yeah.
like, I still look
Smuggling.
at you.
Right. But then she comes back. She's like, I did my time. And he's like, good enough. You know?
You want
Yeah.
some food? You want some
Well,
gumbo?
Cisco does like to keep nefarious people around him.
He does.
Yeah.
Because he's also nefarious.
He
Yes,
is. He
he
does
is.
a lot of things that aren't.
I think by the time she got
Very
back, he was like, that
good.
Maquis stuff. Who cares? Like, that's old news.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're fighting the Dominion now. The Maquis are
Yeah,
old
that's
news.
that's
Yeah.
old. That's old
Eddington's
news.
dead. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit
Eddington's
anymore.
dead. Him and his Canadian loony. I mean,
It was never about the
back.
Maquis. It was just about Eddington.
It was about Eddington. You
Yeah,
betrayed the
you let
uniform.
Right.
Let's totally destroy a planet so it's uninhabitable.
What the hell, right? You win some, you lose some.
Javert.
Yeah.
Chauffeur, yeah. You actually read this play, Kira, Les Mis?
I don't know. We got to stay here in the present. We got to stay here in 1993, Jeff. Invasive Procedures.
Yes, we're talking about the Trill.
Invasive Procedures.
John Glover's here.
John Glover is shining as Dax. He's very awake as when he's Dax. He's very he's
Okay, did anybody
he's not going to bed for many days.
Did anybody notice that when he shows up on the station, when he's just the original Varad, right? He has like these bangs coming down. Like his hair is very different. He looks very muted, and he's kind of more meek and shy, right?
Yeah. His lip quivers
Yes.
when he first gets the Trill too. Yeah.
But then when he gets the with the symbiote, his hair flares up, and it's
he goes Super
different.
Saiyan.
It stays like that afterwards, though. It doesn't go back down to the bangs.
He looks like a golf pro when he's like a Dax. When he's got the Dax, but before he looks like an accountant when he doesn't have the Dax.
You just need a
Golf
briefcase.
pro in pajamas.
It's just a comb. Makes the world the difference. And
Did-
he looked more tanned as Dax as well.
Was this a good performance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Did he
Thought so.
add something to the Trill and to the Dax character overall?
I have a question. So
Yes, Dave.
when Dax goes from Jadzia to this guy Varad, and when the Dax becomes a part of you, like you're no longer yourself, right? Like, does the Dax make your choices more than you make your choices, or is it like
Equal.
what's the deal?
It's equal. It's
so-
adjoining.
So if it's but if the Dax symbiote joins with this guy and just starts doing everything he wants, like doesn't the Dax symbiote want to save Jadzia? Right.
Well, that's what Cisco's
But-
trying to get him to do.
Right.
right.
But there's
the-
but we there's more storyline coming where it talks about when it two shouldn't be joined, when it's not meant to be joined, and the balance is off.
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
in this specific episode, to answer your question, the reason why we know that the new Verdant Dax doesn't want Jadzia to die, because technically could have just killed Jadzia and then there'd be no place for the Trill host to go, the symbiote to go to. Could have, like, if it was Verdant, we know how desperate he was for this. His desperation would still be there if he was in his original persona. He would have just shot Benjamin, right, and went to his exit because he know Ben wouldn't kill him, right? But as Dax, he had all those emotions and feelings towards Jadzia. That's why he didn't want to talk about it. And also Benjamin. That's why he lowered his phaser first before Ben did, because he didn't want to shoot him, but he also knew Ben wouldn't shoot him technically.
Right. But Dave, help me out here. Is he going against Varad or is he going against Dax once he's joined? Like, who's Cisco fighting?
Well, I think it's Varad. I think that the thing is that the Varad is the dominant personality, to Ashley's point, that the balance is off here. And that Dax, the symbiont, at least in this case, is not the dominant personality. It's more like just the, barely sort of present. Varad's assimilating a lot of information and things and emotions, and doesn't really know quite what to do with it all, which I think services, like I said, to like the Dax character. But it also kind of makes the Dax. But I think because you're not necessarily thinking about, the balance was off, that's why. I always felt like the Dax part is very submissive or is secondary to the original host because of this episode.
That way too, Kevin, Ashley?
I always thought so.
Yeah, and they also mentioned in this episode that they hadn't fully finished, like the joining hadn't fully finished. So, and that Dax was still weak from the procedure. So his personality and all that stuff and his thoughts on the Jadzia stuff may not have come out fully yet, because the joining was never complete. That's why Varad, right? That's why he didn't die at the end of the episode after the procedure, was because they weren't fully linked.
Okay. Yeah. No. But he survived. But where Jadzia had been
survived,
linked.
yes.
Right.
I think
Jadzia was fully linked, so she was going to die.
Right. But
And I think it was Cisco even that said they're not fully linked, or someone said they're not fully linked. You can still make the right choice here.
But do you think, to Jameel's point, that Varad would have killed Jadzia after the procedure, but because Varad was joined with Dax, that's why Jadzia was just left to die slowly over the course of several hours, instead of more immediately, and taking the option away of the symbiote going back in?
Because Dax would remember. Dax has, like, there's still all those memories would be there. So yeah, I don't think, especially with Dax still having Curzon's memories, wouldn't want Jadzia to die.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The other thing, hey, don't call me Benjamin. That's right. Varad, don't call me Benjamin. This was a lot better. Like, I liked the suspense in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and hey, Kevin. Kidding,
Hey,
Kevin.
KK. That's my buds.
That's your buds. Yeah, like the other thing too was, like, if somebody was pointing a gun at you, if you were in that situation where life or death, it'd be like, hey, like Odo, like, hey, drop your pants right here, and or this person or your friend dies. right? Like, or whatever. Like that, the equivalent would be for Odo in this situation. Like, you'd have to do
I
it.
feel
right?
like my life and my pants, like someone's life and my pants, I think I would probably just drop my pants. Yeah.
Well, Odo has to like go into a gelatinous state, is what I'm getting at, right? So it's very hard for him to do that in front of people. So
It's hard for me to take my pants off in front of people. I don't know, but I would do it if it meant someone's life.
Right, but it would suck.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be a hero.
Well, is Odo a hero? Did it make it worth it for him?
He's like, "Where's my medal?
Where's my medal?"
He saved O'Brien's life.
He's like, I've never stopped a murder, but I'll tell you something.
I want a latinum coated
right.
bucket to go into.
Odo was ahead of his time. He knew how important O'Brien was. He saved his life.
Right, but do you think you would be in that situation? Like, several times they try to overpower them. Right, like they lose, they get their asses beat every time, where they get the drop on them, where they get the phaser first on whoever, and they can't quite save the day. They can't stop this from happening.
Until Quark.
Yeah,
until Quark.
Yeah.
Until Quark fakes an injury. And like, why do they care if Quark is screaming or dying? Like,
He's annoying. It's so loud.
But they won't kill him. So it's like, I don't know, these like pirates or these mercenaries, whatever, they don't seem very lethal. You think they would have killed somebody to kind of like establish the stakes early on, but they're never like, they get the one guy in sickbay with the hypospray. They get the other guy just eventually by beating his ass, but like that's only after they separate from everyone else. And basically he has to talk the girlfriend down, right? Yeah. But every time they try to like fight their way out, she would have
just wrecked everyone.
Apparently, like she was in the
those streets were hard, dude.
Of the 24th century.
Yeah. Those streets were hard that she fought through. That halfway house, tough stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Varad, he was there from the Federation consulate. That's where he was working.
Yes,
doing some Federation business.
And he brought Tim Russ with him.
Yeah, they met Tim Russ the Klingon, before he became Tuvok the Vulcan. Yeah,
this is before Tuvok, pre-Tuvok.
This is pre-Tuvok.
Yep, it's before Tuvok.
Imagine he had done a Klingon character on Voyager.
If he had reprised this role in Barge of the Dead, perhaps. Maybe in the Grethor, I was one of the Dishonored. I tried to take over Deep Space Nine and steal the Dax symbiote with Varad, but then I ended up in a Federation prison for a few months with Cassidy Yates and whatever. It was boring.
B'Elanna would be a Vulcan.
B'Elanna was she had the Ponfar once.
B'Elanna, the angry Vulcan.
Yeah, angry Vulcan. I always thought she maybe should have ended up with Vork, the Vulcan, instead of Tom Paris, the Tom Paris.
I don't think a Vulcan would. I feel like a Vulcan wouldn't be able to handle B'Elanna. Like, they don't have emotion, but I think annoyed would come out a lot.
Yeah,
I think eventually they'd just be like, "This isn't logical. Go away."
It's like victory is logical. Victory is logical.
Victory is logical.
Victory is logical. Yeah.
Victory is life.
Hence this Klingon, the Tim Russ Klingon. I think he does a good job with the role. He's very threatening.
Yeah.
Yes, he's good at it.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job. This is before he was also in Star Trek Generations as like a 23rd century human. Yeah, he's good in this. The other Klingon is kind of forgettable, but I feel like he's the same guy who played the Klingon in the episode of The Next Generation called The Drumhead, where he was like that Romulan spy dude with or whatever, if you recall. He looked like the same actor. I'm sure I've seen that character actor before play.
Tim Russ refused to get hypo-sprayed, so they're like, you gotta get another.
You gotta get someone else.
Where's that other guy? Just bring him over. Slap on the makeup.
We need you to fall into Quark's lap. Face first.
And then Quark.
That was the invasive procedure in this episode.
And then Quark going, thanks, I feel better.
Yeah, and Jody's got the comment here when Kira says, when this is over, Quark and I are going to have a little talk. She does have a talk with him.
Yes.
I think it means she's going to beat his face in.
Yes.
And then Quark's like, you know what? I tied my fight.
Well, listen.
I'll kick your ass, Kira.
Quark is the hero of this episode because he threw his coin, he jumped on the Klingon, he faked his injury. If he hadn't faked that ear injury, Bashir wouldn't have gotten Odo out, and Odo wouldn't have been able to do what he did. So Quark, the hero of this episode.
Breaks the safe, gets Odo out.
He makes the save.
Do you ever feel like sometimes and I don't say this to antagonize Jody because I know he's not a Seinfeld fan, but like the Kira's kind of Elaine Bennis and Quark is sort of the George Costanza, and where he's like, I'm a little bit afraid of Elaine. She's she pulls the hat over his head or whatever.
No, I don't think any of that.
Okay.
More and more, I like Jody even more.
It doesn't
Right
mean
on.
anything to me. I'm not a Seinfeld fan either.
Okay.
See,
I'm out here on
Ashley-
I'm out here on a limb on the Seinfeld thing.
I guess it just doesn't mean anything to me. I guess I don't know that aspect of.
No, it's okay. Nobody else did either, so it's quite all right. Jeff, you didn't know what I was talking about either.
Yeah, well, I mean, Seinfeld, I like it. I don't know how much it applies to Kira Quark relationship.
yes,
but,
and him, man, dude. Yes, Dave. Yes, absolutely. I see what you mean there.
Yeah, Jeff, we gotta be teammates on Trivial Debates on Sunday, and I don't like it how you're backing me up on my points. You gotta get.
That's
to be like,
because your answers sometimes are wrong.
right. Well, at least we got to confer on those and agree on.
I would like the judge to take note of that statement. Thank you.
Quark
Well,
is way
that's why we
better than
came up-
anything Seinfeld.
came up mostly
Seinfeld.
with-
Agreed.
Sure. Okay. We're not here to compare Seinfeld to Star Trek DS9.
No. We're comparing
to Quark.
Seinfeld to Quark,
Exactly
who is
what we're
vastly
doing.
superior.
Okay. Quark is
Vastly
superior.
Vastly.
Just vastly, I think. Okay. But yeah, sure.
Are you doing a Seinfeld podcast, Dave?
Not yet, but maybe one day.
Then
Oh man.
Point to Kevin.
It's
Jody, harsh words.
harsh words. I know he doesn't like the show either.
Don't tell me you like Friends, but don't like Seinfeld.
See,
Yeah.
I like Friends in the original Klingon, aka Living Single.
I like it in the original German, the Deep Space Nine.
Okay. This is not the Seinfeld bashing podcast. This is the Deep Space Nine love podcast, and we're talking invasive procedures. So
Invasive Procedures.
invasive procedures.
When the guy's like dealing like shoving a screwdriver in Quark's ear before Bashir gets him with the hypo spray. I mean, that's pretty invasive. Seems like he's going right at the. It seems like their ears are like their whole part of their whole like health. Like, if anything's wrong with their ears, they're Fergie not doing so good. So I don't know, like that's kind of an invasive thing. And then I also think like when we talked about Odo being put in the box is kind of invasive. Then you have the whole Dax of it all. Is anyone else doing any invading in this invasive procedures? Other than
John Glover
I-
is coming in to steal the show.
I think the takeaway from this episode is that surgery and medical shit is really easy in the future.
Yeah.
Like no skill at all. Like, hey, I just cut her open. She needs to be sewn up. Here, angry Klingon, take this thing and just wave it over that. Like,
I'm not
like
so
he's
nerd.
painting a wall.
Well, also Bashir was replaced by, hey, Kira, hold this over O'Brien's shoulder every 20 minutes, and it'll regenerate. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Let me treat his wounds first. Like, it took, 8 seconds?
all you needed. You had the hyper spray, you wave the magic wand, and you're good to go.
I don't know if it worked. O'Brien seemed to be in a lot of pain right up until the end of the episode.
I still think he wanted to get up. He was
They're like, I don't want to do as many lines. Can someone just do my coverage for me, like when I'm off
He's just like,
camera?
I'm tired of saving the day. I just.
well, do you think like Quark is the best part about this episode? Do you like the Dax stuff? Do you like Cisco?
It's on multiple fronts. Honestly, you could have just not have O'Brien in this episode at all.
O'Brien doesn't need he got shot. That was all he did.
Like you could have legit just had Kira just do all of that. because she did not add a single thing. She was there for a paycheck and get her butt whipped. Her stunt double got her butt whipped, and she just stood there.
Funny you say that, because I'm gonna blow it now. But in fun facts, there's a moment when the fight is going on between Tim Russ's character and Kira's character, and Tim Russ in real life decked Kira's stunt double and punched her so hard that like she went down on the ground, and everybody was like, "Oh!" and they stopped, but then they kept rolling because they thought it was really authentic, and that was the take they used.
It's amazing.
Well, of course, the take they use is always going to be one with actual violence.
Yeah. Of course, it looked real. It was real.
It was real.
It was.
Got rocked.
Got rocked by Tim Russ.
Yeah. Where were we? Sorry. Quark.
You were saying you were denouncing Seinfeld in all of its ways.
No, I'm not denouncing Seinfeld. And so no, I think that what was the best part of this episode, or who stood out, or whatever, I think it's just in terms of like it established Dax, it established the Trill a bit more. We had an interesting guest star, but I don't think any of the characters came out like. I think Sisko, I guess, because he's the hero, he manages to pull this off and save his friend and Dax and and get everybody sort of back to where they started, and it's kind of a pitiful situation, but that's why there's kind of a down note to it. And Dax has been kind of scarred. She's been like, this is very traumatic and very invasive, and not fun. And I think Quark is kind of a scumbag. I think what he did here, he makes these deals to help smuggle things onto the station, not knowing that he could get people killed or people, he doesn't.
He's a result-oriented person, though. So
yeah,
in this case, nothing happened. So he's like, I saved the day. It all works out.
He created the day as well. So it was, he should at the very least, like in modern TV, they wouldn't reset because
they would have found the way they had this planned out. They would have found a way on it. So
yes,
if Quark wasn't there, chances are, Dax is in the Gamma Quadrant.
Same thing happens. Yeah. Well, you could do it where they got onto the station without Quark's help. That's not necessary to the story.
Yeah.
No, but they continuously set Quark up to be this sort of anti-hero. He does something stupid, he fucks shit up, and then he goes, "Oops, I really shouldn't have done that," and he finds a way to correct it.
This was a big
and
oops.
It's continuous through. He's had a lot of big oopses though.
Oopsie.
But he figures out a way out of it.
Yeah.
He has money.
Well, just like
he has a 600 bars of gold press latinum, protected from the storm, which I don't understand why they need to leave the station. Was there fear that the station would blow up?
No, because didn't they all evacuate and he was supposed to get out of there?
No, he had to stay behind and make this deal. That's why he stays behind. But
okay, but they still reference the 600 bars of gold press latinum that he had from the Bajoran trilogy.
That's right.
Yes.
Maybe he doesn't know what to do with it yet.
He's protecting it. That's why he's staying on the station.
But
that's why he tells them he's staying on the station.
I thought he gave up his seat for the gold press latinum.
Maybe he probably made a few deals.
That's just what he was telling them. Yeah, I'm sure he had multiple things going on.
He's a wheeler. He's a dealer. Like I get it. He's a fun anti-hero. I just don't like this particular example. I think was a big oops. I think what the result here is very bad. This is not just like, oh, we ended up in an Ala Moraine, right? Like this is
Ala Moraine.
This was worse than the Ala Moraine.
Sorry, you do that to yourself.
In both of those scenarios, though, Dave, he didn't know what he was.
Yeah, sorry.
He didn't know what he was getting into. He didn't know that he was putting anyone in danger in both of those scenarios. So I think this is a similar thing because he didn't know that he was putting officers in danger in come along home or move along home or whatever, and he
Move
didn't
along
know
home.
and he didn't know in this one what he thought. He was just making a deal for this stuff he had at his bar, and he didn't know that he was potentially helping someone murder Jadzia.
Quark believes in trickle down economics. So yes, you're absolutely right. He is the money, the profits that he has, he improves his the qualities of his bar, and therefore it is improving the lifestyle of the individuals that live on the space station. So yes, Jody is absolutely correct.
Jody says if it wasn't for Quark, these stations would be fairly useless. His enterprises essentially fund and keep the DS9 economy alive. He's the hero of the series. Him and O'Brien should have had a spin-off. The Federation is the anti-hero. And then he says Quark cares more about the station than anyone useful.
More than anyone useful.
I don't agree that Quark. Sometimes he cares about the station.
He cares about his bar.
About his bar.
The community on the promenade, maybe a little.
No, just them coming.
Only when they're drinking at his bar.
Yeah, just them coming into the bar.
And only when they're losing at the double wheel.
That's right.
Yeah, he likes when they come into the bar and buy his stuff.
Yeah.
It's very unconventional. Yeah. What else? Like, you're gonna get to fun facts, or
did you like at the beginning of the episode where, before like it's the storm's going on or whatever, Bashir walks in and he's like, "Is everything like under control on the promenade?" He's like, "Yes, the ship is stuck for sale or whatever, as it were." And he's just such like a goody two shoe, like Bashir, like. And it's so ridiculous. I'm just like, they still haven't figured him out. You know?
Yeah.
Like, Cisco's like, yeah, great. Okay. Yeah, what's going on? They're getting the message from the cargo ship, Akina, or whatever, and everything that's going on at the beginning. I don't know. Made me laugh.
Goddamn certified heroes. WTF, guys. It's all about Quark. Okay, Jeff, do you know I don't want to spoil your fun facts, but do you know that stunt woman who was Kira's stunt woman, do you know who played her?
Sorry, Bell.
I had it here.
Patricia Tallman.
What's that mean?
Who was Lita on Babylon 5 with the Psy Wars, and she got involved with the Vorlons, and it was great. Great actress.
There was also Alita on
Babylon
5.
It was before they had it, the Lita on DS9.
Oh, really?
So they had, but it was spelled differently.
Was this the last episode that she appeared as Kira's stunt double? Was she like, I'm getting my ass beat by Tim Russ, and you guys letting it happen? That's it.
Yeah, she has a rough go in the Psy Corps and all that stuff too. But that's a long arc. We can't get into that.
Was this episode?
If you thought Steinfeld was bad, Dave, let's keep talking Babylon 5 and see what happens.
Was Dave? Was this episode before she was on Babylon 5?
Maybe slightly, just slightly.
So it's possible that when he actually punched her, he caused some sort of brain damage, and she thought it was a good idea to go and act on Babylon 5.
Well, the funny thing with her character was that she was only in the pilot, but then she didn't come back again until season 3, and or season 2. It was actually season 2.
High five on the feed. Oh my god!
Was that a high Babylon 5?
A high Babylon 5.
You ruined it, Jeff. Also made it better somehow.
Yeah, we'd have to be high to watch Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. It's all the best way.
When Patricia Tallman got punched in the face, she said she noted that, quote, everyone on the set freaked out, but I said, no, don't stop. That was really good. It looked very authentic. So we finished the fight then and there.
Did Tim Russ go into like Chris Brown mode and decide to go in for seconds? Like, what was that kind of reaction? No, don't stop. Like, you're recording. When you say, don't stop, keep filming. I'm just gonna lay here.
Right.
Like,
she was also the lead in the Night of the Living Dead remake.
Yes.
Which one?
she was Barbara. The one from like 1991.
So
that
not a
one.
fantastic career so far.
They're coming to get you,
The
Barbara.
only good show she was on, she got punched in the face.
And it wasn't even her. It was Kira.
Yeah, she was
Does she
Kira.
sign 8x10s of like a freeze frame of that shot?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That
I would
be
actually
amazing.
buy one of those.
Yes, 100%.
She was also Gates McFadden's stunt double.
Oh yes, the action scenes that
Oh.
Gates McFadden had.
Oh yeah. Very many.
I can't think of a single scene that Gates McFadden would need a stunt double for.
Oh,
Jordan got thrown against the wall in Ghostfucker.
Yeah, she was just pretending to fuck the lantern. That's all.
Oh, okay.
In
You're giving up the
Generations,
ghost.
in Generations, when Data throws her into the water, that's Patricia Tallman.
When it's
She couldn't
not
fall
funny.
into the water?
No, Gates McFadden can't be doing that. That's a
No,
Patricia
not
Tallman
funny.
gig.
So her
acting
experience
to do.
with Star Trek is getting pushed into walls, punched in the face, and humiliated by thrown into water.
Yes.
That's her job. That's her gig. And Babylon 5 is Lita Alexander.
The humiliation continues.
She went off with your car and all that stuff, guys. At the end of the it's we can't get into the whole Babylon 5.
It was a rough go.
As much as I want to, we can't get into a whole Babylon
That's
5
right.
thing.
Okay, so moving on.
This
Fun
is
fact
Deep Space Nine.
number 2. The symbiote scene in this episode is significantly different from that scene in TNG. The
This is fun
host.
facts?
Yes, as makeup supervisor Michael Westmore explains, the original design was based upon a caterpillar with an octopus head. Before its second appearance in DS9, the first was in the pilot emissary. The design was streamlined. It just looks like a big bug, right? What the symbiote? What does it look?
It looks like
Did he
it
just
looks
assume
gross.
My gender?
It's pretty gross.
He just assumed my gender.
Yeah, they don't make these symbiotes look very attractive. I gotta
It looks
say,
like a
Boys.
baby, a slug baby. Like I think
it's a slug baby. You know, it's better. And it goes into your stomach and lives in your
Yes.
stomach.
I guess. Unclear.
I
Would
don't
you
think
wanna
it's
be
unclear.
joined?
I think it's pretty clear from this episode.
Would everybody would you want to be joined as a joint trail, or would you rather not?
Well, if you've got like a half an hour to an hour to change your mind, yeah, I'd give it a try.
I don't think that's how it normally goes, right? Like, but if you don't, it was a yes or no, but it wasn't necessary. Even in, like, you take away that whole, you have to go through the symbiosis commission for years, and they might say yes to you at the end. Like, if you take that part out, and it's just kind of a, because I think I would be like, I would kind of lose myself. You would cease to exist, and then this new person would come to exist that is
Like
sort of
Tuvix.
you, like Tuvix, but it's a new person.
What is it? Justice for Tuvix?
Justice for Tuvix, yes. Justice for Tuvix.
You're kind of
goddamn right.
killing the old person.
So Janeway would have like shot Verdant at the end, no problem.
But killed him.
Yeah. Oh, was that stuff?
Okay.
Dave, I don't remember that.
I'm okay with that.
I got a Babylon 5 poster behind
Babylon 5. Babylon 5.
me. Okay. Tim Ross makes his second Star Trek appearance in this episode. The first was in Star Trek The Next Generation, Starship Mine. He would go on later to appear as a Enterprise B bridge officer in Generations and as Tuvok in all 7 seasons of Voyager. Which you guys knew, but did you know?
I knew that.
Tim
I already
Ross
said that.
when you rewatched.
I didn't. I only saw Tim Russ in the credits coming in, and then I was like, oh, well, that's Tim Russ. So I was looking for him, but I had never put that together that he was in this episode before now.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't realize it until you guys said it right here.
Yeah.
There's a
I
bunch
don't
of-
read the credits though.
You know the guy. Speaking of Seinfeld, you know the guy that plays Jackie
You don't read
Childs.
books. You don't read credits.
You know the guy that plays Jackie Childs, Dave.
Jackie Childs from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld.
Oh, great series, Seinfeld. Yeah, go on.
Series. He's
Worth referencing here.
Don't lie in the DR.
He plays the Jem Hadar in late, like I think it's by season 3 or season 4, in a certain episode. I was like, "Who's that actor?" And it was Jackie Childs. I couldn't.
That's
believe
range. That's
It's
gold.
not even in this episode.
He's probably funnier as a Jemadar.
He was great.
This is for 2 weeks.
Okay, so after the operation to remove the Dax symbiote, Virad, Dax, and Sisko reminisce, and Virad asks if Sisko remembers their time on the Cliffs of Bole. This is a reference to Star Trek director Cliff Bole.
Okay. Great.
Oh, the old Cliffs of Bole, huh?
Was he on Seinfeld?
Yes.
He was also a director on Seinfeld?
No.
Oh,
He might have
that'd be
been.
great if it was.
He might have been. Who knows? You never know.
Well, okay, remember how I told Rob Cisternino about Devin Annie Rowell?
Yes.
Yes.
It was a
Yeah.
bold choice.
That actor also played Lloyd Braun.
Oh, then he definitely should have liked that.
On Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there was 3 guys
You
who
said a
played both
name,
guys.
and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not. Yeah, these Seinfeld references are. I gotta stop.
Happens
Lloyd-
to be all the time. Dave throws out names like I'm gonna know, and I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about.
I just like it's in my brain. Those shows, those episodes. So
Yeah, he didn't. Cliff Bole didn't direct any Seinfeld, but he directed a lot of stuff.
okay. So it's just
Okay.
by pure talent that they had some of the great actors on both shows.
Right. So Robert Hewitt Wolf says that this show was created because the producers wanted to convey to the audience the idea that not every single Trill was joined, that it was actually extremely difficult to get a symbiote. This, in turn, offered a commentary on the Jadzia character insofar as she was someone who did become joined.
Is this the first episode that we find out that
No.
Not everyone.
not every
That's what it
Trill
says.
is joined?
No, it's
Yeah.
not the first.
okay.
They just
Yeah,
wanted to
okay.
reinforce it.
Oh, they reinforced.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They wanted to reinforce it. This is the second episode in a row after The Siege, which we just watched last week, where most of the crew is evacuated from the station, while Quark is left behind and Rom receives passage. Okay.
Couldn't they have just continued it and just said,
They're
Everybody's still off the station.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Right.
they probably filmed it and it's like, this makes no sense. Let's just add like a fake storm, and there's a fake storm, and then there's a reason why they can't immediately leave the station.
Yeah.
I know, Jody. He's trying to shoehorn his Babylon 5
Like,
here.
It would have been better if they were like, "Oh, this storm is going on, so our people haven't
Had
been
to all
able to
evacuate.
get back."
Yeah, they
the
couldn't come
station.
immediately. They had to stay away.
Yeah.
We had to evacuate them all to Babylon 5.
You could say that this
And
was
then
an
they died of
invasive,
embarrassment.
invasive procedure of Babylon 5, or an invasive,
And Quark's reasoning for staying at the airlock could have been he was waiting for his brother to arrive. And it's like, you were waiting for the Latinum, weren't you? It's like, no. Right? He wanted to be. Well, the Latinum was with him, so no, that would make sense. Never mind. More Babylon 5 references.
Yes. Okay. Who else
No.
was on both
No.
shows?
Okay, so this is one of Terry Farrell's favorite episodes.
She's not in it. She's asleep for most of it.
It's because she didn't have to. She just had to lay there and not do much.
Probably, and it's probably it was probably pretty.
I thought that she did well in the scene where she had to react to not having the symbiote, and
Yeah,
all
that was
that.
very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's where she really shined in this episode.
Mhm.
So much that when Donald Glover, or I keep saying Donald Glover, John Glover later on, has a similar experience a little bit, like not quite the same. His is overshadowed really by hers. So I don't know if that was maybe a choice he made just to really help her out too. But
Be muted. Well, to be
No,
fair,
I
you
think-
only had the host for like a couple of hours. She had it
Yes.
for like what
well, it serves
years?
the story, and
Years,
and
I think hers would be a stronger sense of feeling alone
Yeah.
after being joined
Also,
for so
she
long.
was alone and knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
right. So I can see why. Yeah, it's about her mostly, right? So I mean, and she's pretty good in the episode, like you guys said.
She is.
Stuntwoman Patricia Tallman, who we've talked about, also has a guest role with Tim Russ in The Next Generation Starship Mine, which I previously mentioned, with both of them as terrorists. So, well,
That's right. They're both in that episode too.
there you go.
So they worked. That was before this or after this?
And most importantly, Patricia Tallman was a reoccurring character on Babylon 5. She played Rita Alexander, a telepath who was enhanced by
Look how happy
Vorlons. Dave.
That's right. The Vorlons. There was two Koshas.
Oh, the Borlons. She was
Of course,
also
the
in
Borlons.
various episodes of Voyager, so she would have been with Tim Ross there too.
That's right. Her and Tim Russ. So when he punched her, you know, it was almost like he punched his old friend. So it's a little better. You know, if you got to punch somebody, you'd rather punch a friend than a stranger, right?
No,
Sure.
I feel like I'd rather punch a stranger.
If you're one
It
of void
depends on
charges,
context.
the void the charges.
Which
that come
one
with
of
it.
my
By
friends
accident.
are we talking about?
Yeah. If you had to punch somebody by accident, would you rather punch a stranger or a friend? Like your friend's more likely to
Oh, a
understand.
friend for sure.
Yeah.
I did it once by accident, and I'm glad he didn't kill me
Right. So exactly.
because we
So
were
it's-
friends.
It's safer.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Jay, yeah. See,
That's
this
it.
is fine.
Shit, grim.
That's it for fun facts. Okay, well, let's get to ratings then and quantify this. That's what I do. I like spreadsheets. I like ratings.
And he likes mediocre television shows like Seinfeld and
Babylon
Friends
5.
and Babylon.
Dave
I've never
Walter-
seen Babylon 5, so I can't really hate on it.
Dave Chekhov was on Babylon 5?
Damn right he was. He was Bester. Walter
I even
Kaney.
knew that.
He wasn't just
Amazing.
best; he was bester.
He was the bester. Alfred
Never
Bester.
He wasn't the bestest, but he was bester.
He was the bester.
Goddamn shucks, right? He was. He was best.
He was amazing on Babylon 5. You think this is a Babylon 5 podcast, it's a Seinfeld podcast, but it's not. It's Invasive Procedure.
Dave, you being happy makes me happy. You're so happy about this.
Yeah. Well, if we can get on to Babylon 5, it's a good night, right? Let's figure this out. Okay, so Kevin, you go first. I need to get set up.
I think I'll give this a 7. It's not my favorite episode, but there's some good points to it. Some good
7,
acting.
huh?
In it.
All right. Ashley.
I'll give it a 7.2.
Okay. Jaemeel.
I will give it a 6.
Yes.
I was going to say a 5, a Babylon 5, but it isn't that bad.
No, then you would have it at the same as Homecoming, and it was way better than the Homecoming.
But I had to put it below 6.5 because that's what I gave Move Along Home, one of the better episodes of Deep Space Nine.
All right.
That's right.
Jeff.
7.5.
Wow.
And I'm going to give this a 7.5 as well. So the average between the 5 of us is a 7. This is a 7 out of 10. It's above the average of 6.5 for the whole series so far. So decent. Solid B minus, I'd say. On IMDb, its rating is 6.9. So we are a little bit higher on it overall, but not much. That's it. So next week's episode is called I Don't Know. Does anybody else know?
The Cardis.
That's a weird name for an episode of Deep Space Nine.
Dave's
It is
just
a
going to
weird
try
one.
and sneak in a Babylon 5 episode without us knowing.
It's called Cardassians. Next week's episode.
The Cardis.
I feel like they
Ooh.
earned this episode name on not a great episode. Although this is the return of Garrick, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's my favorite character.
Back for the first time since season 1. Like since the one time in season 1.
Didn't he show up in 2 episodes?
Maybe 2. It was very brief in 1. Yeah, we've forgotten already. It wasn't that long ago we watched it. Yeah, but that's what we're gonna be watching next is Cardassians as we head through the rest of season 2 here, which deals with kind of like the war orphans, particularly the Cardassians left behind on Bajor after the withdrawal of the occupation, which I think is an interesting
I remember
angle of sort of what's happened here in this sector, in these couple of sectors of the galaxy, the quadrant. So anyway, so we're looking ahead to that, and it's time to plug stuff. Right. So
just before we should pay tribute to the 1-year anniversary and a day of passing of Star Trek DS9 character, if you remember.
Is it Rene Auberjonois?
No, he died in December.
Yeah,
he was mentioned in the Emmys in memoriam. But another member of the Star Trek family, Deep Space Nine specifically, passed away last year, but was not recognized. He is the one that got his homework eaten by a Vulcan woman. Our good friend and Jake's best friend, Nog.
Oh, Aaron Eisenberg.
Yes, he died a year ago, September 21st. So,
yeah. Wow.
Rest in profits.
Too bad this episode didn't have him tonight, but we saw him a little earlier. I think in the first episode of the season, he was hanging around.
Last episode he was there with Jake and the
Evacuation. Oh yeah, they got reunited, so he just wasn't in this one. He was he must have left because of the fog.
Yeah.
the space fog. All right, let's plug some stuff. Yeah,
Deep Space 5.
Deep Space 5. Okay, just Trivial Debates is coming up this Sunday, hosted by Ashley Millard, and we got our first ever team up episode, Triple Threat Tag Team Battle Royale. Do you guys like this poster?
I do. I like the pictures.
Good.
Yeah.
Look at that picture. Looking suave.
So check that out.
Cody look very similar.
And Chris, even the three of us look very similar.
Chris's smile looks like he artificially made it on a computer.
Yeah, like his.
Yeah, like I don't know if we could call you a Muppet anymore, Dave.
His face
Chris
is weird.
definitely the Muppet.
Yeah.
In that picture.
I know. This was one of his profile photos, so I felt justified in using it. So, I'm like, he's picked this to represent himself before, so it's fair use.
I'm like, should I give you a professional picture?
No.
Or should I just take?
Or no, if I had said like, Chris, you picked the photo, I wouldn't get this. So it was it was better. So check that out Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. We're going to be doing that. We got some great questions coming up, like what movie deserves a sequel, what TV character had a devastating death, what song is the worst, or what has the worst music video, and more. There's some great stuff to check out there. So check it out. We're going to be having the team out stuff, and Chris already sent me some funny things about this. I got to tell you this.
You better not have spilled any beans.
Also, here on Live Long and Podcast on Saturday night, we're going to. I'm kind of going backwards in time throughout the week. So Sunday and then Saturday, we're doing Star Trek Radio Theater, which is going to feature Deep Space Nine episode, The Reckoning from season 6, which we're a long time from getting to in this podcast. But we're going to be previewing here. I'm going to be playing the Prophets and Kira Nerys, and Kevin's playing Cisco, and Mott's coming back again to play Jake Cisco / Costa Mojin, and Jeff's playing Kai Winadami, and my wife Jane's playing Odo and Bashir. Ashley's all of the Bajoran cloth, right, or like of the priesthood, as well as our narrator, and Jessica Chan playing Dax and Quark, Jedzia Dax specifically. So check that out, and then Thursdays, I might as well keep with the going back in time chronologically here. So Thursdays we're going to be doing here on Live Long and Podcast Star Trek Lower Decks, and then on Wednesdays. So this week it's the 8th episode of the series, which looks it's going to be good. We just came off a really strong episode last week on Lower Decks. what was it called? Veritas is the name of this next one we're doing on Thursday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing Star Trek original series watch. Usually with Jeff and I's dad, Ted, but he's out this week, as is Adam Woodward. So tomorrow it's going to be me, Jeff, and Jody talking about an original series episode called The Return of the Archons, which I don't really remember. So this should be fun. At all. Jeff, do you know anything about The Return of the Archons?
No.
The Archons?
Is it I don't even know. Is it Archons, Archons? I don't know. So the Archon sounds better. And where are they returning
That's what
from?
it is.
Where were they?
Where were they? Why did they need to return?
Yeah. Why did they need to return? Why couldn't they just stay there?
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be doing that. And our other channel is Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, where Jaemeel, Jeff, and I talk about Big Brother and also other shows that when they're on. But right now we're in Big Brother doing Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 3 times a week. As we're covering one of the greatest series ever. It's season 22 All Stars. So check that out. It's week 7, and who knows who will go home this week? It could be anybody. It's quite a dynamic house. All right, Jeff, you want to take us away?
Sure. The Return of the Archons is while investigating the disappearance of the USS Archon on planet Beta 3, Kirk and his crew encounter an old-style Western community brainwashed and subservient to a sinister godlike figure called
Landru.
Well, that sounds fun.
Are you of the body? Yeah, I know this episode.
So that's what you have to look forward to when we.
Are you of the body? What do you mean?
Just watch the episode.
Just watch the episode and you'll understand, Dave.
Oh, by the way, we got to start a little later tomorrow, Jeff. 7:30, and Jody, if you're watching, because I have to have a massage, so I'll be of the body. And
You're gonna have an invasive procedure.
I am not gonna have an invasive procedure.
Okay.
Not that kind of massage.
No. Little. Come on.
No, I don't do. No,
do yourself some right. Do yourself some right.
No.
What is that?
Of course not. This is a professional.
Jeff,
situation.
you don't know what I mean by this?
I think
I do.
I know what he means.
Yeah.
I think
Relax a little. Come on. Treat yourself.
Treat
Get some Babylon 5 in you.
Treat
Some Babylon 5.
Why would that treat me in any way?
like dirty work. You never heard of that?
It's a Babylon 5. Come on.
Babylon. That's more like
7:30. That's right, Jody. 7:30. You're hearing it for first before I sent you a message about this.
I'm gonna call that the Babylon 5. Go ahead.
The Babylon.
And that is all we need to say about invasive procedures for this week. I have been your host, Jeff Bader. We have Dave Bader over there, Kevin and Ashley Millard, and Jaemeel Babylon 5 Robinson in the bottom right. Meow meow.
It has definitely gone sideways.
And we'll see